Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this video. Hope everyone's doing well. Sinuses still off and on. Getting better though. So we are here to dive back in the world of Mr. Hunter S. Thompson, his book Kingdom of Fear. So without further ado, let's get into this.
The cost would be astronomical. Of course, I said quickly. Thank you for warning me. I must have been out of my mind to mention it. Yeah, he replied. Figure at least $1 million. About what you'd pay for a nice house in New Orleans or 2 rounds of golf with Tiger Woods.
Yeah, kind of expensive.
Shit on it, I said. Never mind the FBI. Who else is after me? Nobody, he said. I can't understand it. This is a dangerous time to get busted. You should knock on wood and enjoy it while it lasts. Yes, I replied. That's why we're going to Africa next month.
Yeah, just, we're going to avoid getting, an entanglement here in the States by going to Africa, because that's always a good idea.
It is time to get out of this country while we still can. We, said the lawyer. Just exactly who is we, Doc?
Lawyers. Kind of to the point there, buddy. Yeah, lawyers.
As your attorney, I know not we. You evil bastard, I said. Don't worry, I understand the attorney-client relationship. Nobody will ever accuse you of terrorism.
Yep. That's a good lawyer for you, though.
Will they? I think it's about time some of you bastards got locked up, counselor. That's what we means.
Yeah. I could just see an argument between Thompson and his lawyer going south real quick.
He fell silent. It is always wise to have your lawyer under control, lest he flee and leave you to sink all alone.
Yeah, and lawyers will do that. Lawyers gonna lawyer.
Lynching in Denver. A poem by Pastor Niemöller, victim of the Nazis. First they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me.
That is just one of the most devastating poems ever written in the 20th century.
Guilt by Association at Heart of Almond Case by Karen Abbott, news staff writer, Rocky Mountain News, April 29th, 2002.
Yep, very, very specific date. And it is worth checking out.
Colorado's Liesl Allman has one thing in common with the man federal agents say was the 20th hijacker on September 11th. They were in custody when others committed the spectacular crimes that got them in the worst trouble of their lives.
Yeah, that's kind of the American judicial system for you.
Allman was handcuffed in the back of a police car when a man she had known less than a day shot Denver police officer Bruce Vanderjagt dead in 1997. But she was convicted of the murder and sentenced to life in prison.
Because somebody has to go to jail.
Zacharias Moussaoui, a French citizen of Moroccan descent, was in jail last year on immigration violations when others committed the September 11th terrorist attacks, for which federal prosecutors want Moussaoui executed.
I think on the Moussaoui case, they actually got evidence that he was corresponding with the terrorists. I think it's kind of like comparing apples and cucumbers at this point. I don't remember the details, and I can't remember if Thompson goes into the details in his book.
He's still in jail, awaiting a federal trial in Virginia on charges of conspiring to bring about the attacks that killed thousands. Almond, 26, is behind bars in a state prison while she appeals her conviction in a case that has also attracted nationwide attention.
I vaguely remember that at the time, 2000, late 90s, early 2000s. But the details, even as many times as I've read this book, the details elude me a lot of the times just because of everything else that was going on at that time period.
The Colorado Court of Appeals will hear oral arguments in her case Tuesday. Moussaoui is not a sympathetic figure in most American minds, but Almond may be. The instinctive reaction to the Liesl Almond case is, "That's not fair," said Denver attorney David Lane.
And he kind of has a point.
Defense lawyers say both Almond and Moussaoui have been unfairly targeted by authorities eager to punish someone for heinous crimes committed by others.
Because they need somebody to punish. They need somebody for the headlines.
Who put themselves beyond the reach of the law by dying. The 19 known hijackers died when the 4 planes they commandeered hit the World Trade Center towers and Pentagon and crashed in a field in Pennsylvania.
He's not wrong about that.
Vanderjagt's murderer, Matthias Jaenig, immediately killed himself with the officer's gun. Both Almond and Moussaoui exemplify a long-standing principle of American law. You don't have to pull the trigger, hijack the plane, be nearby, or even intend to kill someone to face the toughest penalties.
And that's a fact, and that's a very sad fact about the way we have our judicial system set up, that the more money you have, the more innocent you are, and the less money you have, the more guilty you are.
The theory is that even though you're not a hands-on operative, you're still as culpable as the perpetrator, said Denver defense attorney Phil Cherner, president of the Colorado Criminal Defense Bar.
Yeah, and I think good defense lawyers have been fighting that for decades.
A Denver jury convicted Almond of felony murder, a murder committed during another serious crime or the immediate flight afterward, on the legal theory that she was responsible for Vanderjagt's death because she earlier had arranged a burglary.
Yeah, this is kind of the if they didn't do the burglary, no one would have died concept, because she planned the burglary and everything went south. Everything is ultimately her fault for planning it.
Almond enlisted Jaenig's help in burglarizing her ex-boyfriend's apartment in Pine. When the police showed up, the two fled by car. The police chased them to Denver, where they took Almond into custody. But Jaenig escaped on foot and shot Vanderjagt while Almond sat handcuffed in a police cruiser.
See, that's just kind of really shaky ground right there. I mean, it's probably not even ground. It's kind of intuitively like, walking in jelly.
Defense lawyers nationwide see Almond's case as their chance to challenge the felony murder statutes under which people who didn't expect anyone to be killed and weren't present when they were have been condemned to death. The felony murder doctrine is extremely harsh and frequently unjust.
And used without regard of facts and reality in Texas a lot.
Said. The National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers has filed a brief on Almond's side. The Colorado District Attorney's Council has filed one supporting the government. What we are concerned with is the integrity of the felony murder statute statewide, said Peter Weir, the council's executive director.
And if I remember correctly, I know Thompson was real big in the headlines from what I remember about his work advocating for her.
He said the established public policy in Colorado is that it's appropriate for an individual to be fully accountable for the consequences of all acts that they engage in. Once the acts are set in motion, you're responsible for what happens, Weir said. An unusual assortment of supporters has gathered in Almond's case, from gonzo journalist Hunter Thompson to conservative U.S. Senate candidate Rick Stanley, to one of the jurors who convicted her.
That's kind of weird. Yeah, that is kind of weird. One of the jurors that convicted her comes back as, no, maybe she's not guilty.
Peacocks don't move around much at night. They like a high place to roost, and they will usually find one before sundown.
And yeah, we have that abrupt change in subject, which permeates all through this book, all through the story. It's just his storytelling, how he tells his nonfiction stories. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call this a good video. I hope everyone has a good day, and remember that on Saturday and Sunday, I do the full length Welcome to Night Vale episodes. And like I said, I only post one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and that's how that's what I do on the weekends. So until next time, be a good human, be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?